Hello everybody and welcome to Parks Bros. It's Drew here and we're back at Knott's Berry Farm. It is extremely hot. We're talking 107 degrees currently, but we're gonna ride a bunch of rides. So let's go. And speaking of rides, I think it's time for me to finally ride the newest in the park. We're going into Camp Snoopy because it's absolutely deserted today. I mean, understandably, it is way too hot to be walking around a park, but we're gonna go take advantage of that and ride all the rides we can, including Mario's new favorite, Snoopy's Tender Pot Twister Coaster.
It's time to go.
Now, this is the first time I've actually seen this in person. Thank goodness. The clock has returned in Camp Snoopy, so that's a great change to see. It's actually really pretty. Walking into the picnic area, they have this cool design back here. Looks like the trees of the forest. It seems like a small stage has been put out as well with some fences around it. I don't understand exactly what's going on here. I hope it's not for shows, but it seems like this is the replacement officially for the main stage that we were supposed to get, which I will say is very unfortunate. This area is much better than it used to be when the land first opened. They do have lights all the way across now too, and more umbrellas and shade. But yeah, I will say it is pretty disappointing compared to what we got in all the concepts and the announcement videos. Walking into Camp Snoopy proper, I gotta say, the temperatures dropped 10 degrees. And that's not the only thing that's dropped. My buddy Mario from Mostly Coasters just dropped onto the rocks. He's been saying it's very H-O-T-T-O-G-O.
Make sure you H-O-T-T-O-G-O to the...
There's this brand new game you can play. I gotta say, it's pretty cool. It's a nod to Huff and Puff. So you just gotta, huff and puff all your way up to the top of the hill. Which I gotta say, it's a nice ode. This is what this whole structure was for originally. So the mystery has been solved. Now, I've been to the park 4 times, I think, since this ride opened. Today is my first opportunity. It had to be 107 degrees, but we're gonna ride Tender Pot Twister Coaster, and I'm super excited. It took long enough to get on it, I guess, but at least we don't have to wait 90 plus minutes today. So let's go ahead and hop on. So I gotta say, after riding both Snoopy's Tender Pot Twister Coaster and even Camp Swing, because we said why not, there's no wait, might as well check out the newest ride in the park, which I was able to enjoy with my buddy Mario. It was actually really enjoyable talking about that first. Totally feels like a swing set, but you don't have to put any effort, so that made it even better. Really enjoyable overall, and we got an extended cycle, I think, as well, because the song ended about halfway through and we just kept going, so that was a little awkward, I'm not gonna lie, but it was still really just nice, and I'm sure most people will enjoy that for sure. And now Tender Pot Twister Coaster, I'm gonna actually have a full review about that ride later on. Really enjoyed that. I think it's such a better coaster overall. As Jaguar roars overhead, and actually, legitimately, I might like it just as much as Jaguar, believe it or not. It's really, really enjoyable. But some highlights for the ride definitely include the theming, even though a little bit sparse in the first half. Actually, some really cool water effects that I didn't know about from the queue line. But the force is actually genuinely pretty dang good. I gotta say, it feels like the Zamperla gravity coasters of old now, but better in every single way. More comfortable, the profiling is better, the speed is better, the lateral forces are comfortable as well, but pretty intense overall, for a coaster that size. Yeah, I can't wait to make a full review on the ride, give my full thoughts. It's a really fun ride though. Such a better step up. The Timberline Twister of old. I'm actually really, really happy that ride's here now. Now, speaking of Jaguar, it's sending out another cycle. We might actually check it out today. We'll see. There's no waits for anything. I mean, like I said, we rode Camp Swing, which, if you did not know, is now open officially. So I think all of the Camp Snoopy improvements for this year have been completed. Now, something that has not been completed yet, which is opening next year, is Montezuma the Forbidden Fortress. No changes that we can see. more tarps all around. They're doing some sandblasting for the old paint layers and rust and whatnot. So then they can repaint it and make it all pretty for next year when it officially reopens. But yeah, no real updates here. Just missed it. Accelerator launched. Testing currently. You can see also, of course, the Scary Farm decorations are out and about. Kind of scarce throughout the park as of now, but this is a good sign. We're almost there. We are almost there. But if you were worried about your favorite and least favorite clowns returning to the boardwalk, have no fear, or have a lot. Carnival is returning this year for the 51st season of Knott's Scary Farm. I will say the juxtaposition of Snoopy and the boardwalk, pretty crazy on a day like today, because Snoopy is just so incredibly shaded. There's so many trees, right? But out in the boardwalk, it's a little bit of the opposite. However, there is all of this new scary theming all around. I love the extra props they've put into this year for Carnival, and we'll talk about those more in depth as Hang Time goes through its final 2 inversions on that Cobra roll. Looking beautiful as ever. We might actually hop in line for that real quick. It's running 1 train, but it doesn't really matter on a day like today. But here's some of the new props I was talking about. This is an old ride vehicle from the fan favorite Scramblers out there. It actually might be one of the old ones from the park potentially. And then there's like all these drums everywhere now, which I gotta say, it's nice to see the extra theming everywhere. And I really enjoy all the evil monkeys all out and about now. Yeah, tons of new props, including this ticket stand here with a barrel of monkeys. I gotta say, I'm really enjoying that whole new idea that they're bringing to the event this year in this area. Mario, I think, said it in his video, but this monkey's getting some rad hang time.
Hey, it looks like he's getting some hang time.
Yeah. Going to the other side of the entrance, though, I do want to mention this is a fast lane kiosk. You can get fast lane for specific rides at these kiosks in front of the major attractions. This doesn't look to be on today, but that makes sense. There's no wait for virtually anything. While in the boardwalk, actually, I think we're gonna ride Berry Tales because there's no wait. Usually there's a wait, and you'd assume, because it's one of the only rides in the park with AC, that it would have a wait today, but there's nobody up there. So we're just gonna walk right on. It's been a long time since we've ridden it, so let's go have some fun. Just got our ride on Berry Tales. Gotta say, I really, really love that ride. I'm so glad Berry Tales is back as a theme. However, I will say that was by far the worst ride we've ever had on it. Only 2 of the blasters actually worked properly, and even though they worked properly, the aiming was completely off. One of the screens was smashed on the vehicle itself, and it said like connecting to ride server, which I thought was kind of crazy. And one of the blasters just straight up didn't work at all. So kind of disappointing to see that. I know I've heard a couple things about it not being as good as it used to be in terms of maintenance. But after that ride, it was just like, man, oh man, that's crazy. Like, half the ride wasn't even working. So even some of the screens weren't working. Some of the speakers have been fixed, which was great to hear, literally. But yeah, it was just like, what is going on? What's going on? I think that ride needs a little bit of a TLC at this point, because that ride is so much fun as Mario. I mean, do you agree?
Yeah, dude.
Now, I will say, today is cooling down ever since we've gotten here. It's only 100 degrees, but that is a great sign for us because there's no wait for Calico River Rapids, and I think it's time we check out this ride for the first time, at least for me, in like a year and a half. I don't know, what do you say, Mountain Lion? Tarzan? Now, it wouldn't be a fun time on a Rapids ride without my good buddy Dylan from Theme Park Obsession. I gotta say though, while we're next to it, these Halloween props this year, they're really stepping it up.
They are really stepping it up, but you know, I'm surprised you didn't introduce me earlier on in the video. You gotta throw me a bone here, Drew.
You're so right. You are so right. You know, I feel like I'm a fish flopping over a river right now with just how hot everything's been. I can't handle it.
I'm about to pass out.
Well, I think we should sink our teeth into this amazing rapids ride. What don't you think?
I think so. The bear's been telling me we have to jump in line.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and hop.
Dive right in.
Because it's water. I adore how beautiful this entire queue is. I think it's legitimately probably the best queue in the entire park, with just how secluded it feels with all the animatronics and the shade. I mean, it drops like a good 15 degrees back here, which is kind of unfortunate because we're literally riding this ride to cool down. So I'm kind of disappointed with that. But nonetheless, we're gonna have a great time. Hopefully get soaked enough where we won't have to ride it again to cool down even more. Fortunately, like all rides in the park, not gonna be able to show you on ride because there are no phones of any kind or anything allowed out on your person. So just like Berry Tales, just like Snoopy's Tender Paw Twister, not gonna be able to take you on, but we're gonna have a fun time nonetheless. So let's hop on. In Ghost Town proper now, I gotta say, Calico River Rapids, as fun as it was and as wet as you'd think you'd get on it right now with how hot it is, actually not that bad at all. Just a very light drizzle, it felt like. Yeah, not too bad, honestly. Probably would have gone for another ride if a line didn't show up. I mean, yeah, but I will say Timber Mountain Log Ride's actually open today, even though it wasn't supposed to be originally, but I guess it was hot enough where they were like, you know what, let's hold back the refurb and the re-theme for a little bit. Let's have it open today. So we might actually check that out if the line's not too bad. She looks ready for Halloween hootenanny.
She's ready to hoot and nanny.
Speaking of which, we're gonna hop on to the Timber Mountain Log Ride because it is open today. Halloween hootenanny is just around the corner though. The beloved overlay is here again this year for Halloween. It's gonna be amazing. I will say we did not get quite wet enough on Calico River Rapids, so we're hopping on Timber Mountain Log Ride, although it is cooling down. It's 99 degrees now. I actually enjoyed Log Ride more today. Got more wet by that, but I was sitting in the front row and it was a nice misting instead of just like a dump of water, which is always nice. Yeah, super fun. Definitely still the regular Log Ride. They haven't changed anything to hootenanny yet. They were supposed to be doing that right now, but I guess they're just gonna push that back because of how hot it is right now. And in a couple days time, I mean, it's gonna be high of 79 again, so I'm sure they'll officially move it to then. Underneath a closed silver bullet for seasonal maintenance, we have Forsaken Lake returning this year as a scare zone over here. Excited to see this back with some hopefully new faces and tons and tons of props all around. I really like the ideas they play with in this scare zone, with it being like a cemetery from the bayou. I really enjoy all of that. And usually this entire area is covered in fog, so you don't even see when you're about to be scared. So that's always a fun time. And they've also got some pretty interesting shovels that they'll like skirt around and cause sparks and whatnot. It's always really, really cool, the elements they've added to this area. And this is actually one of the newer scare zones, believe it or not, with I think the only newer ones being over in Camp Snoopy and of course the Roaring 20s, which is now the Goring 20s for this season. By the way, next to Timber Mountain Log Ride, you can see the entrance for Cinema Slasher already getting upgrades this year. The giant mascot from the movies that you visit within this maze is on top of the structure now. It's kind of nuts. Loving this upgrade. This maze was one of my favorites from last year. It was brand new last year, so I'm curious to see the upgrades they bring to the maze itself inside, because it's really interesting, and I'm excited to see it again. Bill and Pete enjoying the insane heat as well as the low crowds here in Ghost Town as we've head over this way. The park is truly feeling like a ghost town. I don't think there's more than maybe 3,000 people in this entire park right now. Even Ghost Rider has little to no wait. It's very rare to see that, but the heat has scared enough people off. But us locals, I guess, know that September brings the fire. So, I mean, actually, literally right now. But yeah, it's just kind of nuts. And after doing some perusing around Ghost Town streets, checking out some of the Halloween decorations they've already got up, we're gonna hop into the line for Ghost Rider. Hopefully the shortest wait we've had for this ride in a long time. So if you couldn't tell, I got 2 rides on Ghost Rider. My hair is absolutely all over the place, but 2 rides were absolutely amazing on that today. Row 11 for the first one and row 8 for the second. Row 8 was running so fast it felt like a row 11 ride. It was really incredible all around. Ghost Rider always at this time of year is honestly unbelievable with how fast it runs. But yeah, really great day overall. My first coaster credit in I believe like 16 months, which is insane. Got to hang out with my good buddies Mario from Mostly Coasters and Dylan from Theme Park Obsession. We had a great time just chilling out in the 100+ degree weather. But yeah, we took this perfect opportunity, it being so hot and the park being relatively empty because of that, and it also being a weekday. It was a lot of fun. Check out Mostly Coasters if you haven't. He's got a lot of... Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to everybody up here as well as me down there. And until next time, we'll see you on the next ride.